Hello, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Kimbrell again. And I know you're excited about this week, but I know it's also bittersweet. You're excited because it's the last week you have to do work, okay, and you get a summer. But I know it's bittersweet because this year did not end the way we wanted it to end, and we miss y'all, and we love y'all, and we hate that it ended that way. But I know that you're happy that this is the last week of work. So today, your video is on story elements and talking more about character traits and motivation. Last week, Ms. Soter talked to you about point of view and how characters feel and think and their opinions. So today we're going to just have a total review of all the story elements and then go over character just a little bit more, okay? So those of you that know that I love music, I found a video for you that will review all the story elements. So I'm going to share that with you. And let you listen to this song, okay?
Check it out, yo. Yeah, setting. That's like where it's going down. Could be the train compartment, a castle, or a town. Could be the Arctic winter, like to build a fire. The temperature's dropping, excitement's getting higher. Setting sets the scene, so the scene seems set. Could be an Italian restaurant where we met. Setting gives us the where and the when. Could be modern day, the future, or way back when. Character, conflict, setting. Yes, these are the 5 things that you're gonna be needing when you're reading or writing a short story that's mad exciting. Character, conflict, setting. Yes, these are the 5 things that you're gonna be needing when you're reading or writing a short story that's mad exciting. It's the action, the question, satisfaction. What's going down? What's going to happen? 4 minutes, see in an open boat. Rowing and hoping that they can stay afloat. The flight they had to make it to the beach, but the waves are big and the shore seems out of reach. Plot is a series of events like Lemony Snicket. It could be crazy, wild, or straight wicked. Character, conflict, setting. Yes, these are the 5 things that you're gonna be needing when you're reading or writing a short story that's mad exciting. Character, conflict, setting. Yes, these are the 5 things that you're gonna be needing when you're reading or writing a short story that's mad exciting. Knock, knock. Oh, it's the characters of people in the story who carry out the action. Characters can be pretty tiny and clean. Characters can be silly, whiny, and mean. Juliet is a character, and so is Romeo. Pokemon has characters, and so does Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters can be dogs, lions, or hippos. J.K. Rowling chose Harry Potter. Character, conflict, setting. Yes, these are the 5 things that you're gonna be needing when you're reading or writing a short story that's mad exciting. Character, conflict, setting. These are the 5 things that you're gonna be needing when you're reading or writing a short story that's mad exciting. Snack back in your backpack, we're not finished. The conflict, kids, a struggle in the plot. Now who's on top? Could be a fight for money, like some robbers and cops. Could be an internal conflict, a struggle inside. Like I don't want to tell the truth, but I don't ever want to lie. Flick something in your eye, now you're conflicted. What created drama? The conflict is. Character, conflict, setting. Yes, these are the 5 things that you're gonna be needing when you're reading or writing a short story that's mad exciting. Character, conflict, setting. Yes, these are the 5 things that you're gonna be needing when you're reading or writing a short story that's mad exciting. The theme of the story is the main idea, the central belief, or the topic that's in there. It's usually something abstract like sacrifice, isolation, and resurrection. We back to life like don't lie, don't practice libel. The theme of to build a fire is survival. Survival on your own like 5-0. Vocabulary, something that you have to get. Character, conflict, setting. Yes, these are the 5 things that you're gonna be needing when you're reading or writing a short story that's mad exciting. Character, conflict, setting. Yes, these are the 5 things that you're gonna be needing when you're reading or writing a short story that's mad exciting.
Okay, I hope y'all enjoyed that. Sorry it was trying to pause some there. I had to take my cursor off of there. Okay, so now we are going to do our book for the week, and while I read it, I want you to be thinking about the story elements in there and thinking about the characters. The good thing about this book is it goes over a big test that the school has to take. Well, if I can think of one good thing that came out of this horrible virus and everything, is that y'all did not have to worry about taking those big tests this year. So that is something to be thankful for. So that is one of the reasons why I picked this book, because I knew that y'all could relate to it and be thankful that you didn't have to take that big test. Okay, so this week we are going to do a book by Dr. Seuss, and it is titled Hooray for Diffendoofer Day, with some help from Jack Prelutsky and Lane Smith. He helped Dr. Seuss write, or they helped Dr. Seuss write this book. This is also an AR test, so make sure you look for the quiz number in your directions, and you can take this after you get finished, okay? I've always lived in Dinkerville. My friends all live here too. We go to Diffendoofer school. We're happy that we do. Our school is at the corner of Dinkzuber and Dinkzot. It looks like any other school, but we suspect it's not. I think we're learning lots of things not taught at other schools. Our teachers are remarkable. They make up their own rules. Miss Bobble teaches listening. Miss Wobble teaches smelling. Miss Fribble teaches laughing. And Miss Quibble teaches yelling. Miss Twinning teaches tying knots and neckerchiefs and noodles, and how to tell chrysanthemums from miniature poodles. Miss Vining teaches all the ways a pigeon may be peppered, and how to put a saddle on a lizard or a leopard. My teacher is Miss Bonkers. She's as bouncy as a flea. I'm not certain what she teaches, but I'm glad she teaches me. Look, look, she chirps, I'll show you how to fly, to tell a cactus from a cow, and then I shall instruct you why a hippo cannot hope to fly. She even teaches frogs to dance and pigs to put on underpants. One day she taught a duck to sing. Miss Bonkers teaches everything. Of all the teachers in our school, I like Miss Bonkers best. Our teachers are all different, but she's differenter than the rest. We also have a principal. His name is Mr. Lowe. He is the very saddest man that any of us know. He mumbles, "Are they learning this and that and such and such?" His face is wrinkled as a prune from worrying so much. He breaks a lot of pencil points from pushing down too hard, and many dogs start barking as he mopes around the yard. We think he wears false eyebrows. In fact, we're sure it's so. We've heard he takes them off at night. I guess we'll never know. But we know he likes Miss Bonkers. He treats her like a queen. He's always there to watch her when she's on her trampoline. There are many different people who make Diffendoofer run. They are utterly amazing. I love every single one. Our nurse, Miss Clot, knows what to do. When we've got sniffles or the flu, one day I had a splinter, so she bandaged me from head to toe. Mr. Plunger, our custodian, has fashioned a machine, a super zooper flooper doo. It keeps the whole school clean. Our music teacher, Mrs. Fox, makes bagpipes out of straws and socks. Our art instructor, Mr. Bees, paints pictures by hanging by his knees. In science class with Mr. Katz, we learned to build robotic rats. In gym, we watch as Mr. Bear hoists elephants into the air. Miss Loon is our librarian. She hides behind the shelves and often cries out, "Louder!" when we're reading to ourselves. We have 3 cooks, all named McMunch, who merrily prepare our lunch. They make us hot dogs, beans, and fries, plus things we do not recognize. And as they cook, they sing their song, not too short and not too long. Roastin', toastin', slicing, dice, cooking lunch is oh so nice. We were eating their concoctions, telling jokes and making noise, when Mr. Lowe appeared and howled, "Attention, girls and boys!" He began to fuss and fidget, scratch and mutter, sneeze and cough. He shook his head so hard we thought his eyebrows would come off. He wrung his hands, he cleared his throat. He shed a single tear, then sobbed, "I've something to announce, and that is why I'm here. All schools for miles and miles around must take a special test to see who's learning such and such, to see which school's the best. If our small school does not do well, then it will be torn down, and you will have to go to school in dreary Flobbertown." "Not Flobbertown!" we shouted, and we shuddered at the name, for everyone in Flobbertown does everything the same. It's miserable in Flobbertown. They dress in just one style. They sing one song. They never dance. They march in single file. They do not have a playground. They do not have a park. Their lunches have no taste at all. Their dogs are scared to bark. We don't want to go there. Miss Bonkers rose to her feet. "Don't fret," she said. "You've learned the things you need to pass that test and many more. I'm certain you'll succeed. We've taught you that the earth is round, that red and white make pink, and something else that matters more. We've taught you how to think." "I hope you're right," sighed Mr. Lowe. He shed another tear. "The test is in 10 minutes, and you're taking it right here." Ooh, not much warning, right? We sat in shock and disbelief. "Oh no," we moaned, "oh no." We were even more unhappy than unhappy, Mr. Lowe. But then the test was handed out. "Yahoo!" we yelled, "Yahoo!" For it was filled with all the things that we all knew we knew. There were questions about noodles, about poodles, frogs, and yelling, about listening and laughing and chrysanthemums and smelling. There were questions about other things we'd never seen or heard, and yet we somehow answered them, enjoying every word. One week later, after recess, Mr. Lowe meandered in. We'd never seen him smile before, but now he wore a grin. He soon began to giggle, then his giggle grew by half, and then it really happened. Mr. Lowe began to laugh. "You've saved our school! You've saved our school!" he jubilantly roared. "We got the very highest score." He wrote it on the board. And look at what he wrote, 10,000,000%. How about that? Wouldn't that be awesome? Miss Bonkers did some cartwheels till her face turned cherry red. She bounded up to Mr. Lowe and kissed him on the head. "Hooray, hooray," she shouted. "I'm so proud I cannot speak." So she did another cartwheel and she pecked him on the cheek. Coughed Mr. Lowe. "You all deserve a bow. I thus declare a holiday. It starts exactly now. Because you've done so splendidly in every sort of way, this day forever shall be known as Diffendoofer Day. And furthermore, I promise I won't ever wear a frown, for now I know we'll never go to dreary Flobbertown." Here it is with her kissing him on the forehead. Then we held a celebration. There was pizza, milk, and cake. Like everyone, I ate too much and got a bellyache. We laughed and whooped and hollered the entire school day long. Then we all sang triumphantly the Diffendoofer song. Now I'm going to attempt to sing what it may have sounded like. "We love you, Diffendoofer School, we definitely do. There surely is no other school that's anything like you. You're gribulous, you're grobulous, each day we love you more. You are the school we treasure and unceasingly adore. Oh, finest school in Dinkerville, the only one as well. We love you, Diffendoofer School, much more than we can tell. You are so Diffendoofer-us, it gives us joy to say. 3 cheers for Diffendoofer School. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Here they all are celebrating. And the last page, hooray, hooray, hooray. How about that? They did not have to go to Flobbertown. And I really believe that y'all would not have had to go to Flobbertown either. Y'all would have done excellent on that test this year, every single one of them. And we would have been very, very proud of you. And I'm sure you would have done it with no problem. But I know you're grateful that you didn't have to, right? Okay, so now I'm going to share the screen with you again. And we're going to do a PowerPoint together, okay? Let me just get everything fixed up here real quick. All right, so again, this was on Dr. Seuss, Hooray for Diffendoofer Day. And let's review our story elements one more time. So the setting is the time and location where the story takes place. Not just the where it takes place, but the actual time. Did it happen in the morning? Did it happen in the afternoon? Even more specific, did it happen at 5 o'clock in the evening? That is your setting, okay? The characters are the people or the animals who are important to the story. In this story, we only had people, but in many stories that y'all read, you have animal characters too, and they actually speak. That's fantasy fiction, okay? But in this story, we only had people. All right, let's move to theme. Theme was recently reviewed with you during this distance learning. Remember that theme is the lesson or message of the story. It is the main point that the author is trying to get across to the reader. It's like I tell my students, it's something that you can learn and take from the story as a general reader, okay? The problem. The video actually used the word conflict. Problem and conflict mean the same thing. The main conflict, struggle, or issue that the characters are up against. That is what the problem is. It's what needs to be fixed. And then remember that your plot are the important events or actions that occur during the story, okay? It's everything that takes place. And if you're writing a plot summary, then you're thinking about the main beginning, the middle, and the end, and what happened in the story. And then your solution. Your solution is the way that the characters solve the problem. It's how that problem or how that conflict is fixed, okay? So now we are going to talk about the story elements with this book. So the setting, that should be pretty easy, right? What do you think the setting is? Yes, you got that right. It is Diffendoofer School. So I'm going to try and do this as best as I can with you guys so that you can see it well. All right, oh, forgot my N. Sorry about that. I got to make sure I spell it right. Diffendoofer School was your setting, okay? Okay, so let's move to characters. Okay, now, your characters, we don't have room to put all of them in here, but who was the main teacher character? Miss Bonkers, right. All right, and who's the principal's name? You got that right, Mr. Lowe. And then who remembers the nurse's name? Miss Clot. And what about the custodian's name? Mr. Plunger. All right, let me move this up a bit so it'll be in the square. All right, so those are 4 of the characters, but this book had tons of teachers that were mentioned. So a couple of others that stood out to me was Miss Loon. Miss Loon, told them to read louder. She was the librarian. And then the 3 cooks, their names were McMunch. I love how Dr. Seuss just makes these so visual. So those are your characters in the book. Now let's move to theme. What do you think the theme of this text could be? Do you think that the teachers helped the students at all in doing something? Maybe believing in themselves? The teachers, especially Miss Bonkers, when she gave her speech, helped the students know that they could believe in themselves on this test. And then the students did it. They even did good on the things that they didn't think they would do well on. So a good thing that we could take from this story is to believe in yourself. Okay, now let's move to problem. What do you think the main problem is here? You're right. They have to take a big test, and what happens if they don't pass? They have to go to Flobbertown. So I'm going to try and make this as short as I can. So the school has, sorry about that, the school has to take a big test. And, it's compound sentence, I have to remember my comma. And if they do not do well, the school, has to be torn down. Wow. Okay, now let me make this a little smaller so it'll all fit. Move it up a bit. Okay, that's the best I can do. So the school has to take a big test, and if they do not do well, the school has to be torn down, and they have to go to Flobbertown. That's the huge conflict, the huge problem. Now, as we move to plot, all I'm going to do for plot is just a reminder, I do not have room to put all of the plot here. So we're just going to talk about it, and I'm going to remind you that you think of BME for plot. So what does B stand for? The main beginning. What happened in the main beginning? What does the M stand for? What happened in the middle? And what does the E stand for? What happened at the end? Okay, so we're going to think about those things as we review this story. So remember, in the beginning, is everyone happy to attend Diffendoofer? Yes, everyone is happily attending Diffendoofer school, where the teachers are amazing. The book uses the word remarkable. And then in the middle, we find out about Mr. Lowe. Is Mr. Lowe your typical principal, like Mrs. Ambrose, who's always in a great mood and always ready to see y'all and hug y'all and talk to y'all? No, Mr. Lowe is a very sad principal. He's a sad principal, and when he finds out this news that they have to take a test, he gets even sadder. Okay, so that's the main thing that's happening in the middle. And then at the end, the students have to pass, or excuse me, at the end, the students pass with the highest score. They pass the test, and they not only pass, but they have to pass with the highest score, or they do pass with the highest score possible. And the book said they passed with 10 million%. Okay, so if I wanted to tell a summary or a plot summary of this book, that would be it. You would think about your main, beginning, middle, and end events and put them all together like that. And that is your plot, the events that happen in the story. All right, let's do solution. Okay, so how was the problem fixed about the big test? Well, I just went over it. The students actually knew everything. So the students passed with the highest score. And they passed that test, they aced that test with 10 million%. Okay, so these would be the story elements of this book. Now let's move to character a little bit more. Let's talk about the principal, Principal Lowe. So we're going to talk about what a character trait is and then what a character's feelings are. A character trait is a word that describes how a character acts. So you have to think about what the character says and what the character thinks throughout the story when you're thinking about character traits. A character feeling is a word that describes how the character acts and what the character says and what the character thinks about things. Okay, and it may not stay the same throughout the story. Okay, so keep that in mind. So when you think about Principal Lowe, what is one of his character traits? Does he worry a lot? Yes. I can probably say that he is a worrier. So I can put that for Mr. Lowe. He's a worrier. He worries about things too much. That's something that happened pretty much throughout the book until the very end. So now you see I know this because, well, we've taught y'all to do text evidence all year, so I know this because, why? What was some text evidence that proved that he was a warrior? Okay, well, remember in the beginning, how was his face? And I'm not going to write in complete sentences. I'm just going to jot some things down. It said his face is wrinkled as a what? It described it being wrinkled as a prune. Okay. Then what did he do with the pencils? The book said he liked to break pencil points. If somebody breaks pencil points off, they're very nervous. They're getting very worried. So that is text evidence also that he's a worrier. And then also, I don't know if y'all caught this one, but it said he mopes around his yard or around the yard. Probably talking about the yard at the school. He mopes around the yard just like this. He's a worrier. He's always thinking the worst can happen. Okay, so all of this is text evidence for him being a worrier in the book. Okay, so you will have to do an activity after this on one of the characters that you're about to read about. So this is how you will do it. You'll think about her character trait and then the text evidence that proves that trait. Okay, so now let's talk about the character feelings of Principal O. Did his feelings change in the story? Yes. So we're going to talk about his main feeling, though, before it changed, and that is what? He was very sad and gloomy. Very sad and gloomy until the end, right, when his character changed. And remember, a character feeling can change. But throughout most of this book, he was sad at the beginning, and then, of course, he even got sadder when he found out they had to take the big test. So sad and gloomy. So I know this because now we need to put some text evidence. Okay? So what text evidence proves that he's sad and gloomy? Well, the book says that the students thought that he was the saddest man that any of us know, is how the book put it. Saddest man that any of us knew. And then it says he shed a what? He shed a single tear. And it said he shed a tear twice in the book. That proves that somebody's sad. And then as he talked to them, he was sobbing. It said he sobbed as he talked to them. If somebody's sobbing, they're crying. That's a synonym for crying. So that means that somebody's very sad. Okay? So this is how you would do the character feelings. Remember, they can change throughout. So you want to think of the feeling that she or he felt the most. Okay? So, boys and girls, I hope that this lesson really helped you today and just helped to review a lot of skills for you. Make sure you do 2 pages today. There will be 2 pages sent to you. And the second page is a lot like the chart that we just did. So if you need to look back at anything or look back at the book before you take the AR test, make sure you do that. Again, this is the last week of school, and just know that we miss y'all, we love you, and we hate it had to end like this, but we hope that you have a wonderful summer. This comes from every 3rd grade teacher and your administrators. Bye.